Alright guys, in this video, we're gonna go over a few analyst reports on HYBE that specifically discuss the upcoming first quarter results. And then, in general, analysts are more informed of news than the public, even though it doesn't mean that they know everything. And within the reports that I have read, they were expecting some comebacks from HYBE artists in the second and third quarters. And there's some interesting information there. So we will go over one by one. But first, let's address this issue. So as you know, I made this video yesterday. Kakao Entertainment for sale. What went wrong? What will happen to Dolphiners? And I did not even include this in the thumbnail or the title, but there was this article that has listed HYBE as one of large companies that could potentially acquire Kakao Entertainment if Kakao officially decides to sell the company, Kakao Entertainment. Now, the day after this news came out, HYBE stock price plummeted by 7%? No, 8%, 8 to 9%. Also, that was when there were multiple reports that came out saying that first quarter of this year would be worse than expected for HYBE in terms of earnings. So some analysts say that those two factors contributed to the plummet in the stock price. So let's address this first because today, was it today? No, yesterday. HYBE made a statement, or not an official statement, but according to reporters, they contacted HYBE staff, employees, or insiders who said that they have not even reviewed, potential acquisition of Kakao Entertainment, and that's just a baseless rumor. So that's confirmed. Although we don't know for sure what's gonna happen in the end, but I have already mentioned that as a shareholder and as a fan of HYBE artist, I hope that they don't even touch Kakao Entertainment with a 10-foot pole, right? And that's what a lot of international viewers and Korean viewers said as well, right? Don't even think about it. And HYBE said that, they're not even thinking about that. Said that the rumor about the acquisition of Kakao Entertainment is not true. It's a groundless rumor, baseless rumor. And then according to deal sites, they also contacted HYBE Insider on the 9th, and they said the same thing. It's a baseless rumor. But yeah. So I just wanted to address that first. Now let's go over analyst reports, starting with this. HYBE, first quarter 2025 preview, likely to miss market expectations. HYBE's earnings for Q1 2025 are projected to fall short of market expectations, with sales of 432.9 billion Korean won and operating profit of 21.5 billion won. This is significantly lower than the market consensus of 53.1 billion Korean won in operating profit. The drop is largely due to weak album sales in the absence of major releases, apart from Busoksun, the 17 unit group, and Hoshi Uzi, another unit group from 17, that recorded 705K units and 370K units respectively. And LE SSERAFIM, and according to this report, LE SSERAFIM recorded 580K units, but this figure is different in other reports, so we'll talk about that later. However, since most artists who were inactive in Q1 are expected to make comebacks in Q2, there is no major change to full year projections. Album sales are expected to come in at 74.6 billion Korean won, showing declines both year on year and quarter on quarter. On the other hand, concert revenue is projected at 175.8 billion Korean won, driven by 41 world tour shows by 17, TXT, ENHYPEN, J-Hope, and BOYNEXTDOOR, with total attendance reaching around 910,000. Thanks to the fandom inflow from J-Hope's tour, Weverse MAU is expected to exceed 10 million again for the first time in 5 quarters. Okay, how about the growth outlook through 2026? It remains intact. HYBE's operating profit is expected to grow to 344.7 billion Korean won in 2025 and 519.1 billion in 2026, reflecting an average annual growth of about 68%. That's a lot. This growth is backed by 1. Continued expansion in the scale of global tours by HYBE artists, and 2. The resumption of full group BTS activities starting in the second half of this year, which is expected to significantly boost both album and concert revenues. The rebounds in Weverse MAU and a potentially more favorable external environment also support the positive outlook. And they said they're maintaining top pick status in the sector. We maintain our buy rating and target price of 320,000 Korean won for HYBE, keeping it as our top pick in the entertainment sector. Strong earnings growth through 2026 and an anticipated upward revision in valuation multiples are likely to drive a clear upward trend in the stock price. HYBE's current 12 million forward PE stands at 32.7 times, but this could rise to 40 times value in line with earnings momentum. So that's a target PE, 40 times. Okay, so according to this report, to sum up, even though they're expecting that the first quarter earnings will be lower, much lower than expectations, they're fine with maintaining the top pick status buy rating on HYBE, because long term they will continue to grow until at least 2026 thanks to the continuous growth in HYBE artists and BTS comeback. Okay, all right, moving on to another report. The headline is a brutal first quarter, and now all eyes on BTS return. By the way, this report was from IBK Securities, written by Kim Yoo-yeok, Analyst, yesterday on April 9th, and this one came out today. From Hyundai Car Securities, written by Kim Hyun-yong, Analysts. All right, first quarter operating profit of 21.9 billion expected to fall far short, less than half of consensus. Okay, so HYBE's Q1 results are projected at 486 billion in revenue and 21.9 billion in operating profit, which is expected to fall to less than half of consensus estimates. Oh, okay. While concert attendance rose by 580,000 compared to the same period last year, driving company-wide growth alongside MD and licensing, the profitability of newer artists like BOYNEXTDOOR, TWS, N-Team, and other rookies was low. As a result, the operating margin is expected to come in at just 4.5%. So that was the first part of this report. Second part, BTS return in the second half expected to drive meaningful profit margin improvements. In Q2, major artists such as 17, TXT, and ENHYPEN are set for major comebacks, and BOYNEXTDOOR and TWS are also scheduled to return, signaling the beginning of a performance recovery. Yeah, I made a video yesterday about BOYNEXTDOOR and TWS and N-Team's comebacks. N-Team wasn't mentioned here. N-Team is having a comeback on 23rd of this month, and TWS on April 21st, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, please correct me. And BOYNEXTDOOR to come back in May. 17's comeback is confirmed in May to celebrate their 10th anniversary. TXT, according to their spoiler, May 3rd, right? May 2nd or May 3rd, although it's not confirmed yet. ENHYPEN is not confirmed yet, but they have listed ENHYPEN as one of the potential comebacks in Q2. So we'll see about that. Both album sales and concert attendance are projected to grow year on year by 13% and 5% respectively. From Q3 onward, now here's an interesting tidbit. Physical solo album activities by J-Hope and Jin are expected to ramp up, and individual projects are likely to become more active ahead of BTS full group return. Now, of course, this is not confirmed yet, and this might be just this analyst opinion or projection. But according to this guy, J-Hope and Jin might have comebacks with solo album, like physical albums. Okay, so that could be exciting, although it's not confirmed. And J-Hope himself has said that there might be another digital single that could come out soon, right? We know that's gonna happen in the near future, but okay, another album, physical albums for both J-Hope and Jin. All right, so we'll have to stay tuned for that. What else? As BTS share of total revenue increases, operating margins are also expected to improve. So that was part 2. Part 3. HYBE leads K-pop's Western expansion from BTS, 17, ENHYPEN, TXT to KATSEYE. The key to K-pop's profit growth in 2025 will be expanding into Western markets. HYBE is expected to deliver meaningful results in these regions with at least 5 teams, including BTS. 17 became the first K-pop act to be invited to the US largest April music festival, Lollapalooza, while ENHYPEN has confirmed a tour schedule for the year following their appearance at Coachella in April. Wait, it's not Lollapalooza, it's 팔 노를 때. Sorry, let me correct that. So 17 became the first K-pop act to be invited to the largest April music festival in Latin America, 팔 노를 때. And while ENHYPEN has confirmed a tour schedule for the year following their appearance at Coachella in April. KATSEYE is also set for a comeback between June and July. So, to be exact, the wording is 알려지고 있으며, according to the industry, or it has been said that KATSEYE is set for a comeback between June and July. Nothing's said, nothing's confirmed. There's no announcement yet, but according to this report, KATSEYE will have a comeback in a few months in between June and July. So that's exciting. With plans for 빌보드 핫100 입성, 하반기 추가 앨범 발매, 연말께 첫 투어 가시화 등 미국 시장 연착륙이 무난할 전망. Okay, so with plans for a Billboard Hot 100 entry, a new album in the second half, and their first US tour by year end, suggesting strong traction in the American market. Let me read this again, because I didn't really notice the significance of this sentence when I did a Korean version of this video. 17은 4월 남미 최대 음악축제 팔노르 K-pop 최초로 참가했고 엔하이픈도 4월 코첼라에 입상함으로써 올해 투어 스케일업 확실시. So that's the end of the previous sentence. And then this entire sentence is about KATSEYE. 아울러 KATSEYE도 6월에서 7월 컴백 계획으로 알려지고 있으며 빌보드 핫 100 입성, 하반기 추가 앨범 발매, 연말께 첫 투어 가시화 등 미국 시장 연착륙이 무난할 전망. Alright, I would love to know what the source is for this analyst report, because it just said that, KATSEYE is expected to have a comeback between June and July, and with plans for a Billboard Hot 100 entry. How do you know? How can we make plans about that? I mean, that will be exciting news, right? But okay, I guess this analyst came back from the future, and they're a new album, another album in the second half of the year. 추가 앨범, additional album. Okay, so maybe they will release a single, like digital single, in June and July, or just a pre-release, just like they released the track called Debut and a follow-up track called Touch before they release the whole album, and then the full album will be released in the second half of the year, maybe, and then possible tour, like a US tour by year end, suggesting strong traction in the American market. So yeah, if you're icons, that could be an exciting news. So we'll see about whether this turns out to be true or not. Okay. Because again, even though analysts are more informed than the general public, they're not always right? And they don't know everything. The core of K-pop investment sentiments is BTS. Post-discharge, EPS 12-month EPS forward, 12-month forward EPS estimated at 9,000 Korean won, current PE at 24 multiples. After a sluggish first quarter, earnings are expected to rebound starting in Q2 with J-Hope's world tour and major comebacks by key artists. A full group BTS tour announcement would likely be a strong buy signal, and any share price corrections until that point are seen as buying opportunities. And then said that the stock price is generally undervalued currently. Okay. And yeah, we all know, and the analysts know, that first quarter is generally weak in the entertainment industry. So this analyst also agrees with the previous one, saying that even though Q1 earnings would be lower than expected, that's understandable, and we know HYBE would do better in Q2 and onward, right? So there we go. So some forecast about the possible comebacks of HYBE artists, including 17, ENHYPEN, TXT, and KATSEYE. Especially, it was, how should I say, insightful about KATSEYE, and also J-Hope and Jin's solo album plans. And again, this is not confirmed. This is an analyst report. Okay? All right. And their projection, or speculation rather. Next report. Q1 preview. Solid growth, but margin gains still underwhelming. All right, so let's see what this analyst has to say. HYBE's consolidated revenue for Q1 is expected to reach 442.8 billion and operating profit at 21.4 billion Korean won, falling short of previous estimates, which is for revenue 480.7 billion and operating profit 31.1 billion. Despite missing expectations, the company is still expected to show strong year-over-year growth. BTS member J-Hope and other boy group IPs drove significant tour attendance, contributing to top-line growth. Combined with strong sales of tour merchandise and new character MDs, HYBE is likely to post its highest ever Q1 revenue, even during this typically slow season. And yes, once again, everybody knows that Q1 is generally weak for entertainment companies, but HYBE is likely to post its highest ever first quarter revenue, according to this analyst. But a drop in the proportion of album revenue and increased fixed costs, labor costs, for example, are likely to limit improvements in operating margin. Okay, interesting. And here's a segment breakdown. For albums, estimated 2.8 million units sold, including 700K from LESSERAFIM's new release. So even though this guy said that 580K, this analyst says that 700K, 700,000 from LESSERAFIM's new release, 1.15 million from 17's 2-unit albums, and 950K from back catalog, from old albums, right? Total album revenue is projected at 120.7 billion Korean won. Interesting. Let's see. Concerts. Total attendance is expected to reach 920K, including 13 shows by J-Hope, 8 by 17, 9 by TXT, 15 by BOYNEXTDOOR, and 3 by ENHYPEN, marking a 165.1% year-on-year surge in performance revenue. Now, what about MD and licensing? Tour-related character MD sales are driving strong year-on-year growth. Content. With few new releases in the quarter, content revenue is likely to decline year-on-year. And here's a subchapter. Focus on direction over speed is needed. While quarterly profit improvement may appear modest for now, the outlook for significant long-term growth remains strong. Why? BTS may have already peaked. All right, so this is another interesting statement that could cause some strong reaction or responses from fans. But here we go. BTS may have already peaked in global brand recognition, but ticket prices have risen and global tour markets have expanded, especially with China lifting its content ban. This sets the stage for a record-breaking 2026 in terms of contribution to earnings. Meanwhile, newly debuted lower-year IPs are showing signs of breaking out beyond Asia with strong digital streaming metrics, which could create major earnings leverage in the coming year. Given the long-term upside, any short-term price or time corrections should be viewed as continued buying opportunities. Okay, so yeah, that statement, BTS may have already peaked in global brand recognition. That could interpret it in multiple ways. And I'm sure once BTS gets reunited and is preparing for a comeback, and even after they have a comeback, a lot of Korean media will talk about that, right? Like, will BTS continue to achieve success as before? And honestly, as a BTS fan, first of all, as a BTS fan, and second of all, as a HYBE shareholder, I just hope that BTS continues to do what they like, make music that they like and make music that they believe in over the long term. And short term, there might be noises. And I'm sure some Korean journalists would love to attack BTS if there's some hiccups in streaming performances or views, like video views. But honestly, who cares? As long as BTS members stay healthy, physically and mentally, and make great music, I'm super fine with that. And some people might say that before the military enlistment, BTS was killing it, right? Honestly, the members themselves could not believe, especially with Dynamite and the subsequent releases. And it is true that they got enlisted. They enlisted in the military at the peak of global popularity so far. So it might be the case that might be the peak, or they might grow even further. But honestly, I think some Korean viewer from my Korean version video of this video commented that, basically the whole world already knows BTS now. So there might be some truth in that sentence that they have already peaked in global brand recognition because they have been already widely recognized. But who knows? Maybe, they'll grow further. Once again, as someone who believes in, music and content, as long as they create music that they could believe in, the members believe in, and that the members enjoy, they will do fine. And HYBE will do fine, right? As long as they create good content. All right, so moving on. And yeah, the gist of this report, once again, is that even though first quarter could be weaker than consensus, they're fine, and the stock price is still undervalued. Okay? All right, and next two reports are some reports that I especially was interested in. So once again, thanks to analyst Lee Hwan-wook from, where are you from? Yuanta Securities. Now this one is from 한국투자 Securities, Korea Investments by An Do-young. And here's an interesting title. First quarter preview. Focus on the forest, not just the trees. And that reminded me of RM's lyrics from Intro Persona. Right. Some people say focus on the trees. Some people say focus on flowers. 얘는 숲을 보라고 걔는 들꽃을 보라. Sorry, that was just I don't know. I love RM. All right. HYBE's first quarter revenue is projected at 509.4 billion Korean won, and operating profit at 25.8 billion Korean won, falling short of the consensus estimate of 48.3 billion in operating profit. The drop is mainly due to a decline in album revenue and a larger share of lower margin concert sales, which likely brought down the operating profit margin, OPM. Album revenue is expected to be 110.7 billion Korean won, reflecting a drop from last year due to the lack of significant releases, aside from 17's 2-unit albums totaling 1.15 million copies and Le Seraphim's 700,000 copies. So this guy agrees with this guy in terms of expectations for Le Seraphim album sales, 700K copies. On the other hand, J-Hope 17. TXT and ENHYPEN's world tours are expected to boost concert and MD sales significantly. In non-operating income, valuation gains from SM Entertainment shares are expected to contribute around 80 billion Korean won in financial profit. So, boom. Yeah, HYBE still has like around 9 or 10% shares in SM. All right, focus shifts to 2026 earnings, reflecting BTS return, a year of expanding leverage. Although non-BTS artists have shown growth and increased revenue, overall profitability has declined. This is largely because BTS, the group with the highest profitability, has been absent from reported results, and many new groups have debuted. In 2026, with BTS World Tour expected to be reflected in performance, and as younger artists improve their profitability, the company will likely enter a phase of operating leverage expansion. Until then, rather than focusing solely on margins, it's even more important to track the growth of non-BTS lineups and the broader scale of the business. And part 3. Q2 set for a rebound. Stock price drop overdone, target price maintained at 310,000 Korean won. The stock fell, all right, and here's an interesting paragraph addressing both issues, the rumored Kakao Entertainment acquisition and also, first quarter expectation. The stock fell 7% the previous day, influenced by weak Q1 earnings and speculation over HYBE being a potential acquisition, HYBE being a potential acquirer for Kakao Entertainment. However, the Q1 results were not due to fundamental issues, but simply the timing of album releases. In Q2, 17, TXT and BOYNEXTDOOR are all set for major comebacks, which should drive strong performance. An acquisition of Kakao Entertainment by HYBE is also unlikely. 역시 가능성이 없다. Unlikely. No possibility. Kakao Entertainment operates across dramas, films, webtoons, and web novels, and its music business is too small and unrelated to justify a HYBE buyout. SM is 21% owned by Kakao, and Kakao Entertainment owns Kakao owns 21% of SM, and Kakao Entertainment. What is this? SM은 카카오가 21%, 카카오엔터가 19% 보유. SM is owned 21% by Kakao and 19% by Kakao Entertainment. That was kind of confusing. Looking ahead, BTS returned to group activities, along with expansion in concert / MD scale, growth in overseas artists, and improved monetization from games and Weavers, represents strong mid to long-term investment potential. The target price remains at 310,000 Korean won. So, there you go. I agree with this analysis, and I think I've said in this video too, I don't think HYBE is even considering the buyouts. And I thought that, the reason why these reporters included HYBE as a potential acquirer is because, they didn't even include any evidence or receipts to back up their statement. Right? It just said that large companies such as HYBE, Krafton, and NCSoft, which are the major game companies in Korea, are being discussed as a potential players to buy at Kakao Entertainment. And I think it's just their opinion, because these companies are capable of buying the company. But yeah, since they didn't even quote anybody, I thought it was just, in Korean we say their own thoughts and opinions. But nevertheless, there was a strong public reaction to this rumor, right? Most people who commented under this video, international or Korean, objected to even the mere idea of HYBE buying Kakao Entertainment. And I'm sure the company themselves is aware of that. And again, HYBE already has a lot on their plate, right? And they need to focus on, the current business. A lot of businesses that they're doing simultaneously, both in terms of music, content, solution, platforms, and technology, right? And musically, they're focusing on new markets, including Latin America. And also, they're about to launch local groups in the US and Japan and Latin America, right? So, yeah, there we go. Okay, and another article that I thought was interesting. The title is interesting too. Oh, thank you to, who are you? From 한국투자증권, Analyst 안도영 from Korea Investment Securities. All right, this one is titled, and this one is written by analyst Park Soo-young from Hanwha Tuja Securities, Hanwha Investment Securities. Quarterly earnings volatility is like cherry blossoms. It comes and goes with the season. Cherry blossoms. Stock decline seems excessive due to increased volatility in Q1 earnings estimates. We recommend viewing this as a buying opportunity. And by the way, I did use it as a buying opportunity yesterday, but it plummeted by 8 to 9%. But stock price fluctuates. That's its nature, right? Where are we? All right. Q1 preview. Operating profit expected to meet lower consensus. We estimate HYBE's Q1 revenue and operating profit at 451.1 billion Korean won and 45.1 billion Korean won respectively. While operating profit consensus has been repeatedly revised downward, the actual results are expected to come in roughly in line or slightly below. The quarter's weaker performance compared to the previous quarter is due to seasonal factors and relatively lower artist activity. However, compared to Q1 last year, larger scale tours like 17 and J-Hope's did take place, and there appear to have been no unusual cost issues. Okay, interesting. Sorry, late. 출고 한 5천 하락할 것이다. 음반원 매출액. Okay. So when they said the quarter's weaker performance compared to the previous year, it has to do with the album revenue. Okay, album revenue. Yep. Wait, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, here we go. 전분기 사실 매출과 이익 모두 다소 부진한 것은 계절상. Okay, yeah, so that was correct. However, compared to Q1 last year, larger scale tours like 17 and J-Hope's did take place, and there appear to have been no unusual cost issues. Recently, the divergence in Q1 profit estimates has widened, driving up stock price volatility. However, fluctuations in earnings estimates for a seasonally slow quarter don't carry much long-term significance. We maintain HYBE as our top pick due to 1. Strong expected growth from non-BTS artists in 2025, especially Q2 to Q4, and 2. The anticipated market impact of BTS full return in 2026. In short, the recent drop in stock price due to estimated volatility offers an additional buying opportunity. Okay. 2025 will be different from 2024, and 2026 still holds massive potential. That was this subtitle. Operating margins are expected to improve in 2025, driven by a rebound in album sales, improved cost ratios from revised label-level sales forecasts, stronger ticketing power from younger artists entering monetization phases, and growing leverage from indirect sales streams. J-Hope's 2025 tour is also expected to be a major revenue driver. In addition to 17, TXT, and ENHYPEN, who already demonstrated both strong demand and profitability in 2024, BOYNEXTDOOR and LE SSERAFIM are also expected to embark on world tours in 2025 that can maturely contribute to earnings. And in fact, if I know correctly, BOYNEXTDOOR is about to finish their world tour, and LE SSERAFIM is preparing for their own world tour, right? At the same time, we believe the revenue and profit potential from BTS full group comeback in 2026 albums and world tour is still being underestimated, meaning that the current stock price doesn't have BTS comeback reflected, right? Meaning that it's undervalued, according to this analyst. Target price maintained at 320,000 Korean won. HYBE remains top pick in sector. Investor anticipation for the scale-up BTS upcoming world tour is likely to provide strong downside support for HYBE stock throughout the year. We maintain our top pick rating within the sector. Okay, so there you go. I don't think this report deviates much from the previous reports that we just read about. And last but not least, let's talk about this report. It's relatively shorter, but thank you to this analyst, Hanwha Research. It doesn't say the name, but Park Soo-young, analyst Park Soo-young. All right, last but not least, this one. And this is written by an analyst called Kim Ji-hyun. It was interesting because of its lack of mentioning of Suga, and I'll discuss this in pretty soon. Quarterly earnings. HYBE. All right, sorry. The worst is already behind. First quarter preview. The last hurdle. Q1 revenue is projected at 480.3 billion Korean won and operating profit at 35.0 billion Korean won, slightly below initial preview expectations. Album sales volume declined year over year due to a lack of major new releases. On the performance side, strong results are expected thanks to J-Hope's world tour. In Q2, most artists under the label are scheduled for comebacks and promotional activities. The Q1 slowdown is viewed as a temporary dip caused by various external factors. 17, BOYNEXTDOOR, TWS, ENHYPEN, and ILLIT are all preparing comebacks, according to this analyst. Okay, nothing's confirmed yet, but they said 컴백이 예정. They're set to have comebacks or preparing comebacks. When 17 in May to celebrate their 10th anniversary, so that's confirmed. The articles are out already about that. BOYNEXTDOOR May. That's kind of confirmed because KOZ, their agency, has said that that's their goal, right? May comeback. And Myungjae, their leader, has set his profile name on Weverse as May comeback. TWS April confirmed on April 21st, if I remember correctly. ENHYPEN, April 4th, digital single. That's already released, right? Great song, by the way. If you have not checked out, go check it out. And ILLIT, mid Q2, within second quarter. Interesting. That could be exciting. And I feel like that could be really possible. Considering that they're about to have their fan meeting / fan concert, right? So cool. And by the way, even though this analyst did not mention N-Team is about to have a comeback on April 23rd. And okay, notably 17's upcoming mini album releasing, where is it? Oh, sorry. TWS upcoming mini album releasing on April 21st has already surpassed 556,000 units in pre-orders, breaking their own record. Sorry, there was a typo in my translation. Okay, so once again, notably TWS's upcoming mini album to be released on April 21st has already surpassed 556,000 in pre-orders, breaking their own record. So congratulations, that's pretty exciting. All right, part 2, BTS approaching full return from military service. So this is pretty interesting. In just 2 months, on June 11th, Jimin and Jungkook will be discharged, marking the completion of military service for all BTS members. And then it says, this will further fuel anticipation for their return as a full group. As of April, there has been no official word on the format or timing of BTS group activities in 2025. All right, so let's backtrack. In just 2 months, on June 11th, Jimin and Jungkook will be discharged, marking the completion of military service for all BTS members. But what about Suga, right? Suga will be discharged from service, his mandatory service, on June 21st. So why did not mention Suga? That was my question. One could say that maybe it's because technically he's not in the military. He's doing the alternative service, right? But I think there was another analyst or journalist who has done the similar thing. Skipping the mentioning of Suga when they talk about the expectations of BTS full return. So that got me. Sorry, I close the window. I sent an email to this analyst to ask why did not include Suga in this report. I said, Dear Jihyun Kim, I recently read your report on HYBE and found your insights on BTS military service timeline and future growth activities very informative. I did, however, have one question. In the report, you mentioned that all BTS members will have completed their military service as of June 11th, following Jimin and Jungkook's discharge. But, to my understanding, Suga, Min Yoongi, is currently serving as a public service worker and is expected to complete his service on June 21st, 2025. Was there a particular reason Suga's status wasn't mentioned? I really appreciate any clarification you could provide. Thank you again for the great analysis. I look forward to your future work. Have a great day. Best regards. Because I just wanted to understand, because I have seen this elsewhere before. Is there a particular reason to not include BTS in this report? Suga, the mentioning of Suga in this report? I don't know. But I'll keep you updated if I receive an email from this analyst. And then what was after that? This will further fuel anticipation for their return as a full group. As of April, there has been no official word on the format or timing of BTS group activities in 2025. That's true. Although the HYBE CEO, Lee Jae-sang, kind of mentioned it during the shareholders meeting, annual shareholders meeting, which I have made a video about because I attended it in person. He answered one of the questions asked by a shareholder. In fact, she was a journalist from The Bell. And he said that, okay, so before World Tour, BTS should have a comeback with an album. And in order to create an album, because BTS are artists who create their own music, they need to spend time, right? And for that, we need to be patient. So that's the gist, right? But he did not reveal much more because that could affect the stock price, and it's not something to be shared within the shareholder meeting. And that's we all agree upon if we're fans. To create great music that they believe in, they need to spend time, right? But yeah, no official word on the format or timing is out yet. However, it's been shared that HYBE and BTS are considering releasing a 10th anniversary edition of The Most Beautiful Moments in Life in part 1. Because that's something Chairman Bang Seok or Hitman Bang, PD님, has kind of talked about when HYBE renewed their contract with BTS before the military, right? He hinted at the potential release of the 10th anniversary album of 화양연화 Part 1, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life. Okay, so despite record high revenue, the album was originally released in 2015, and if a 10th anniversary version drops this year, it's expected to significantly strengthen fan engagement. Despite record high revenue, the growing share of lower margin concert income is weighing on operating profit. Under the current circumstances, a BTS group comeback this year is seen as crucial for restoring economies of scale and improving cost structure. Okay, and there you go. And then at the end, it says that at the end of this year, within this year, there will be new boy group from BTS and also new boy group in Japan. So from HYBE label Japan, right? Also, thanks to the success of global girl group KATSEYE, there will be a new Latin band from HYBE Latin America, and a new boy group from HYBE America, and expectations are high. So to be exact, in terms of translation, thanks to the global success of KATSEYE, the expectations are growing for the Latin band from HYBE Latin America and a new boy group from HYBE America. Notice this analyst described the new Latin group as a Latin band instead of Latin group. So interesting. I wonder what they know, what information they know. Okay, and then it says that expectations are high due to BTS comeback and finishing of their mature service, and then the stock price will recover due to BTS full comeback and about communications about BTS comeback and post-military activities. So there we go. Sorry, there was a lot of reports and content that we just went over. So I had to translate a lot. But to sum up, these analysts generally agree that Q1 earnings will be worse than the expectations, but also that's to be expected and it's fine because HYBE will do well onward, right? Q2 will be strong, and then until 2026 at least, they will grow in a very dramatic manner thanks to BTS full group reunion, full comeback. What else? That other artists other than BTS are continuing to grow, so that could be a contributing factor to the growth of the company and success of the company. And even though not everyone agreed upon this, but some analysts hinted at the comebacks of artists that we did not know about, including ILLIT to have a comeback in the second quarter, again, not confirmed, and KATSEYE to have a comeback between June and July, and an additional album in the second half of the year, and even a US tour by the end of this year. Again, not confirmed. And what else was there? And oh yeah, J-Hope and Jin, solo physical albums in the second half of the year. Again, not confirmed. But we'll have to see. So that could be exciting. All right, with that, I will wrap up. Even though I added disclaimer, this disclaimer in the Korean version because there are lots of Korean investors, potential Korean investors who invest in HYBE stock. And although most of you watching this video are not investing in HYBE, I will add a disclaimer anyway. This is not a recommendation for HYBE stock. You have to make your own decisions in terms of your investments and stock investments. And speaking of which, I recently heard from one of my subscribers that this ETF, which used to be the only vehicle through which you could invest in HYBE and Korean entertainment companies, is no longer available. So I just wanted to mention that in case you are interested in stock investment. And I know a lot of people have asked me how they can invest in HYBE as an international investor. I have no idea. I think you can contact your stock brokers. This was the only vehicle that I knew of through which you could invest indirectly in HYBE. But yeah, I don't have an answer for you. Sorry. Make sure you contact your stock broker and be aware of fake news or rumors. Right? Don't get tricked by any scammers. All right. With that, I'll wrap it up. And I hope you enjoyed this video and found this video informative. And if you were to write comments, please let's stay positive, respectful, and classy. Thank you guys. Peace and love. Bye-bye.